How's it going, everyone? I'm Adam Molina. Every time we get a chance to check out Creative Lab speakers, we usually fall in love. The Sound Blaster Roar and Roar 2 in particular left a lasting impression, and the bar has been set for their newest speaker, the iRoar. This is supposed to be their best sounding and most intelligent speaker with everything Creative has to offer, but at almost $400, is it worth it? In the box, you'll get the speaker, a pretty nice carrying pouch, though it probably won't protect it much, a micro USB cable, the power supply, and a bunch of adapters so you can use the speaker wherever you are in the world. The Creative Sound Blaster Roar 2 was slightly smaller than the original and still boasted great sound, but the iRoar doesn't try to be small. So this speaker is slightly larger than the Roar 2, so if you thought that was hard to carry around, you'll probably feel the same about this one. That said, it wasn't really meant for portability. Sure, it's portable, but in the way that you might bring it to the living room or to a friend's house. Creative put everything they could in this speaker, but that also makes it fairly heavy at 2.5 pounds or 1.1 kilograms for our international friends. You can definitely throw it in a bag and be good to go, but you're going to know it's there. So the front and sides of the speakers are covered in this grille with the clearly visible drivers underneath. There's also a driver on the top that's also covered in a grille, but the rest is covered in a plastic that's a fingerprint magnet. Just taking it out of the box forced me to wipe it down a few times just to take pictures of it. Around the side of the speaker is also a golden plastic trim, which definitely adds a nice touch, especially since you can use this speaker on your desk or with your TV. More on that later. The speaker is meant to be laid flat on its back. Doing this orients two drivers towards the listener, one driver aimed upwards, and two passive radiators aimed out on either side to increase soundstage. You'll find all of the controls you need along the top of the speaker, with a power button in the top left corner. There's also dual microphones on either side of the driver in the middle for picking up your voice. On the back of the speaker are the numerous ports you'll need for making full use of this. That's also where you'll find the power input for charging the speaker. So Creative claims that this is the most intelligent speaker on the planet, and this is where it begins to show. It has NFC and you can connect to your device via Bluetooth. It also has the aptX codec for high quality streaming if you choose to, but you can also plug in a 3.5mm audio cable, an optical cable, or USB cable to connect it to your analog devices, your TV, or computer. There's even a micro SD card so you can play your own music without an external device. Basically anything that outputs sound can be ran through this speaker for a boost in quality. The inputs aren't the only thing that makes the speaker special though. Along the top are also a number of different playback controls. To the right of the power button you'll find a mode switch button, then playback controls for pausing and playing songs and skipping between tracks. Next to those is a touch-sensitive record option because yes, you can use this as an audio recorder if you really want to. Then there's the roar option, which automatically boosts the volume of the speaker. After that is a mic beam control, mic mute control, answer and phone call button, and finally the volume up and volume down buttons. Again, these aren't really physical buttons, but rather touch-sensitive controls. Anything you want to do with the speaker you can do without even touching your source device. And then to put the cherry on top, there's the app. It's available on both Android and iOS, and it's pretty intuitive. It gives you full control over a number of cool features. You can select from a few different EQ profiles, or if you don't like any of them, just make one for yourself. Then there's all of the add-ons. Unfortunately, I only had a 64GB micro SD card, and the iRoar requires a 32GB one, so I wasn't able to test any of them, but there are plenty to choose from. Battery life usually depends on how you use the speaker, and that's definitely the case here. Creative claims a battery life of 20 hours, but on max volume with the Roar boost turned on, we only got about 7. On average volume with the Roar boost turned off, we were able to get a little closer to Creative's claim, but still not quite 20 hours. We got about 17 hours, which is pretty good considering average volume is still loud enough for most use cases. We did most of our testing via Bluetooth using the audiophile flatter profile sound, but there's so many ways to connect to this speaker that it really depends on your preferences. If you're watching an action movie, you can up the bass, but if you're listening to music, maybe you like that flatter sound. You can do that too. The speaker can do it all. The low end is nice and tight and never became overbearing, at least on the flat profile. Bass kicks and bass guitars stayed neatly behind the vocals, but still had enough power to make their presence known. Again, if you like a little more thump in your music, you can easily adjust that with the EQ settings via the app. The mids were equally clear, and the guitar and Dirty Paws by Of Monsters and Men weaved seamlessly in and out of the vocals. When all of the instruments come in during the chorus, it does get very slightly muddy, but not by much, and the overall sound is still pretty clear. The highs in this speaker are equally great. Even on max volume, there was never a piercing sound that became painful, and many details in my favorite songs easily made their way through. One example of this is in the song Winter Prayers by Iron and Wine. You can hear his fingers scraping over the guitar strings as he picks his way through the song, a detail that I thoroughly enjoy. If you can't already tell, there's a lot to like about the iRoar. If you keep it clean enough, it won't look out of place on a home entertainment system or on a desk, and you can connect pretty much anything you want to it. The app is also really intuitive and it gives you complete control over a bunch of other cool features, but it's the sound that did it for me. The speaker sounds amazing, and unfortunately that's reflected in the price. At $370, this is basically twice as expensive as the Roar 2, but I don't know if it's twice as good as the Roar 2, and because of that, it's hard to recommend. Still, if you do spend the money, you won't regret it. We're giving the Creative iRoar a 9.1 out of 10. And that's pretty much it for our review. Thanks for watching. If you want to know more about the Creative iRoar, make sure to check out the full written review over at SoundGuys.com. While you're here, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and sign up to our monthly newsletter so you can stay up to date with all of the newest reviews and audio news here at SoundGuys. Links to all of that down there in the description. I'm Adam Molina. I'll see you later.